Hello everybody and welcome back. On this video I'm going to show you how to produce this join. This is called a cross halving join. Have a look at that. And this is one of the very first things that you'll do in college on your carpentry and joinery course. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to make this today. That's not a bad fit actually. Okay, to make this join you will need a tenon saw, a mallet, a chisel, a marking gauge, a very sharp pencil, a square, a ruler and a bench hook. And the first thing that we have to do is start by marking out the two pieces of timber. So you've seen me machine these up earlier. These are the exact size that I need. This is a drawing of what we're going to produce. There's no measurements on there, but it's pretty much timber this size. Okay. Now before I get on to marking this up, I just want to say thank you to your kind words of encouragement. It's been really helpful. Thank you ever so much for that. Right, okay, back to the joint. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that these two pieces of timber cross in the center. Not near the center, but on the center. And the way that we do that is to take this piece, put it on the edge like that, and use your finger to make sure it's nice and flush and as straight as you can sort of estimate it to be. Then take your sharp pencil and put a little dot just there, okay? Then with your ruler measure from that dot to the end of the timber there. Now all the measurements that we're going to be using are millimeters, and I'm going to do a video soon explaining how to read a tape measure, why we use metric and not the old form of measurement which was imperial. So these are inches here. We're going to disregard all of that and we're going to use these top measurements here which are millimeters. So from that dot there to the edge of this timber here is 102 millimeters. So if we divide that by 2, that gives me 51, which is there. So I'll put a tiny little dot on 51 millimeters. And then if I just have a quick check, yes, I'm happy with that. Now, ignoring that first dot there, this is the second dot here, that's 52 millimeters from that edge to there. Put your timber up against that dot, lay it nice and flat on your bench, eye it in so it looks square, and then give yourself another dot. Don't be tempted to strike a line because you've got absolutely no way of telling whether this piece of timber is square, and if it's slightly skewed like that you will increase the width of your cut. So make sure that it's as square as you can get it and just put a dot. Don't do anything more than that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use the square to mark our lines. Now, there are 3 places you can mark here. You can mark on the left side of the dot, on the right side of the dot, or directly on the dot. And it's directly on the dot that you want to be doing. So take your time, breathe, and just mark it like that. So there's the dot, and there's my pencil line directly on top. Do the same on the other edge. And then also, once you've done that, you need to bring it halfway down the timber on the 2 edges. Like that. Okay, now do the same again on this, but this time we can use this piece of wood as a template so I don't have to do all that measuring again. So I'll just transfer those lines like that. Put that to one side. Try and keep your bench clean. Don't get flustered with tools everywhere. Okay, good. That's that part of the job complete. Now what we've got to do is we've got to find the exact center of this wood here. And we do that using a marking gauge and your little ruler. So pop it on the side of your timber. That's 28 millimeters. So it's 14 millimeters, and just put a dot like that. And then we're going to set this on the dot. It's very easy to use. You just slacken that off and that moves up and down. Okay, and there's the point that we're going to be using there. These 2 points here are for mortises and this is for marking. So we're going to use this one, and I'm just going to place that very lightly. Don't go crazy and start digging it deep into the timber and pushing it hard, because it will just follow the grain, and that's not what you want. And then we just nip that up very carefully, just pull it away and then finish tightening it up. Now if I've set this right, I should be able to put it in that dot there, turn the timber around, and it should land exactly back in that dot. And that's how we test whether I've done it right. And I haven't, I'm out slightly, which is fine. Just bring that in a little bit. Yes, I'm good, I'm good. Okay, so that pin has now been set from both sides of the timber, so I know I'm absolutely in the center. And then what we do is very lightly just score the wood like that. If you go in too deep on your first pass, the pin will just follow the grain of the wood and it will be wavy. So nice and light, and you build the depth up continuously. Yeah, don't try and do it in one go, you won't do it. So that's that, good. Same on that, nice and light, good. Good. You see that? I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's have a quick check just to make sure that my lines and my marks are good. Yes, that's good. Happy with that. And this one, happy with that. Now we're going to cut these with the tenon saw, and it's really important now. So I'm just going to give a squiggle on there because that's the waste that's coming out. And when I put my saw in, I want my saw going up to the line there. Not on the line, and certainly not from that edge either. It's got to come from the inside. So take your bench hook, pop it into your vise, tenon saw, and when you're holding your tenon saw, it can be really useful if you put that finger there like that. It gives you a lot more guidance. Okay, but if you see your knuckles going white, you're holding it way too tight. So just be nice and relaxed and save the strength for this hand. This is a hand that's going to hold my piece in place, so I want that nice and strong, but this I want it nice and loose. Put the saw, see my finger there? My finger is acting as a guide. Put the saw up to the timber and cut that line from the inside. Just nice and slow, don't go crazy. Once I've made an indentation, then I can use all the saw. Nice and steady, and hope for the best. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. You'd seen the one I did yesterday. Damn. Okay, yep, happy. Same again. Okay, so by the time you've done, it should look something like that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start to take out this waste here, down to that line that we've made there with the mortise gauge. Marking gauge, sorry. So for this, you're going to need your chisel and you're going to need the mallet. Take your bench hook out. Now place your timber in. Now when I start chiseling this, okay, do not be tempted to go straight into that line there. If you do, the back of the timber here could break below that line. So the idea is that you first of all chisel about there, and then just above the line to finish off. And then we do the rest by hand. Right. Just nice and easy. Don't go crazy and don't try and go all the way through. Once you get to that point, turn it around and then come through the other side. Okay, good. Now we're going to have a quick check. Yeah, so you can see there's not a great deal left to come out of that, but we're going to do that by hand because we've got to be a lot more accurate. So chisel probably not necessary now. So let's get this piece to the same stage as that piece. It helps as well if you send your chisel in on a slight angle, it'll go into the wood better rather than just, you know, flat on the face. Quick check, not bad. I'm happy with that. Okay, now we're going to take the rest of it out by hand without using a mallet. It just gives us a little bit more control. So now I put my chisel into the little groove that I made with the marking gauge. And I don't go crazy. Just wiggle it like that. Using this hand to keep the chisel flat, and the back hand is what's doing the wiggling. Okay, don't ever find your hand in front of the chisel. Every accident that I've ever seen was a result of a student putting their hand in front of the chisel and then pushing with the other hand from the back. You've got so little control doing that. So just keep your hands back from the edge of the chisel. Okay, now a little bit more. Just enjoy it. Relax. Still not brilliant, but I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to do the same on this piece, and then we can have a little dry assembly to see how it's looking. So let's keep them out of the way, keep the bench clean. A sharp chisel makes the world of difference. If your chisel was blunt, you're going to have to use more effort. Not bad. We'll do a quick dry assembly just to see if we need to alter anything or everything. Okay. Right, not quite at all. Just got to take a little bit more out on this edge. So let's take that back off. You really are as well at this point just taking out a really thin piece, a real slice, not big chunks, just little slices, just to try and get it as flat as you can. Pay attention to what the wood's doing as well. Pay attention to how the grain reacts to your chisel. That's good. Look at this one. Ah, yeah, I can see that one. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There it is. Okay. Far from perfect, but with practice, it just gets better and better. So what you want to be feeling is here. If this part here is flush and smooth and you don't feel this little step, okay, then you've done it. So I'm going to play around with this for another 2 or 3 minutes and just get that absolutely perfect. But there, you can see. That is your cross halving join. So if you got to that point, well done. The purpose of these joins really is to familiarise yourself with the tools and the materials. There's only one place on a building site where I've ever had to produce a join like this, and it's on a wall plate of a roof. So when you put in the wall plate on a roof, when 2 pieces of timber come together like this, okay, you have to produce a very, very similar join to this to make sure that these 2 pieces overlap. That's the only time I've ever used this join on site. And I don't do it with a mallet and chisel. You tend to do it with a circular saw. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's give it a little tap. Yes, that's good. I'm happy with that. So there you go. Cross halving. All right, thanks for taking the time to watch, and take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.